Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would try something different, and I thought I would try to film a day in my life as a stay-at-home mom slash knitter. We just woke up, so we're just going to get dressed and start our day. Our mornings are usually pretty chill, and that often gives me an opportunity to knit a bit. We are usually still quite sleepy after getting out of bed, so chill activities like reading are a big favorite of ours. And today we read one of my son's favorite books about tractors. His father drives a tractor at work, and sometimes my son gets to join him. So he has become very interested in tractors. So he loves looking in his book and just pointing at the tractors, talking about them, talking about his father. So we just started the morning doing that. Neither one of us is hungry in the morning, so we wait a while to eat breakfast. If I serve him breakfast too soon in the morning, he barely eats, so I follow his hunger cues for breakfast, but give him some fruit to snack on. And while he eats fruit, I get in the first few stitches of the day. By the time we are finished eating fruit, my fiancé is home from work. He works morning and evenings, working for a farmer, so we are really fortunate to spend most of our day together. His coming home coincides with Alex, my son, being hungry for breakfast, so they eat. I'm not hungry in the morning, so I just sit and talk with them while I do some knitting. I make sure to grab absolutely every opportunity to get a few stitches in. After breakfast, my son really wants to knit, at least his version of knitting, so we spent the last little while before his nap knitting. He is really obsessed with this current project I'm knitting on, and every time he sees it, he just runs for it and grabs it and tries to knit, so I'm really enjoying having some knitting time with him. When it's time for Alex to nap, my fiancé takes him out in his stroller and walks with him till he falls asleep. Also, spot him wearing his zipper sweater light man. I just love that he grabs for his homemade sweaters when he's going outside. I use a little time to relax and knit while I plan what to do during the nap. Most days I knit most of the nap, if not the whole nap, but today I have to start cooking dinner. I'm making lasagna, and it's way easier to chop all the veggies and do all the prep work without a toddler running around. I put the chopped off ends of all the veggies in a plastic bag, and then I keep that bag in the freezer until I have a bag full of veggie scraps, and then I cook broth on all of the scraps that I've gathered. For this recipe, I'm using carrot, celery, onion, and garlic. I really enjoy getting some of my creativity out by cooking as well as knitting, and I find it's a big plus actually enjoying cooking homemade dinners as well. But although I love cooking, I'm really noticing that now that my son is more active than he's ever been before, that if I don't knit during his nap, I barely get any knitting done that day, and that's something I'm really struggling with recently. I don't have the time to do everything that I want to do, and choosing what to prioritize is really hard. After chopping all the veggies, I cook them until they're soft before adding in tomato puree, chopped tomatoes, and some of my homemade broth. As you can see in the video, I have a little plastic bag where I keep all my veggie scraps, and then I just save those up until I get enough to cook broth. While I start cooking the meat, I separate a bit of the veggie tomato mix in a different pot. I'm a vegetarian, and also I can't really deal with lots of different textures when it comes to food, so I separate some for myself and blend that up. I also give the one for my son and fiancé a couple of pulses so the greens get better incorporated in the sauce. When the meat is cooked, I put it in the pot for my son and fiancé, and then I leave both the pots to simmer for a couple of hours. After cooking, I made sure to get some quiet knitting time in before my son decided to wake up. I just sat there and relaxed while rewatching Criminal Minds. I prefer knitting at one project at a time, since too many projects at once gets really overwhelming for me. but since I have so little knitting time lately, I've had to rethink that. So now I usually have one bigger or more intricate project that I work on in the evenings, and then I have one smaller or easier one that I can pick up and put back down quickly, so I can pick it up whenever I have time to knit. So I really feel like that makes me able to get the most out of my knitting time. When my son woke up, we checked in on the food, and I must say it's looking and smelling really nice, and I really can't wait to dig in. Then my son wanted to knit again. As I said, he's really obsessed with this project. As you can see, he really wanted to make sure he had pulled out enough yarn, so he just kept pulling out yarn from the skein. It's really fun to see him imitate how I knit and really start picking up on the mannerisms I use when knitting. So I really can't wait until he gets his fine motor skill refined enough to actually start knitting with me. The whole family worked together to finish the lasagna, and I think this is my favorite clip ever. It just captures everyday life, and I'm doing some dishes, my son is helping me, my fiance is shredding cheese, and I just think this really just captures how everyday life is, and I just love how it captured that. I decided to put together the lasagna so everything would be ready to go when it was time for dinner. We really wanted to go to the library, so everything had to be prepared for when we got back home again. First, I put mine together, and then I put the one for my boys together. It's quite a lot of lasagna, but that just means we have lunches and dinners for a couple of days, so this is also kind of meal prepping. The last thing I did on the lasagna was sprinkling some cheese on top, and my son helped by trying to eat all the cheese and then grabbing into the lasagna. We had a quick trip to the library, and we ended up lending this book with us home because he really fell in love with it. He really loved pointing at different animals he's seen before and just telling us all the words he knew. Then my son decided he was going to try himself at vlogging, and this is what he wanted to capture. Enjoy that.
Deg. Det er mamma.
Nå har snudd og snakker med seg selv.
Mamma.
Ja, det er varmt, fytti katta.
Pappa.
Ja, filmer du deg?
Åh.
Nå skal vi gjøre sånne ting som jeg har tenkt.
After getting home, we ate the lasagna, and it was delicious. My son was dancing his happy dance and practically singing in between every bite, so I can safely say that this was a big hit for all of us. But it's definitely quite a messy meal with all the tomato and all the juices. So
from the meal we went straight into bath time, but I'm not complaining because bath time means knitting time, so I quite like bath time.
And just like that, the day is over, at least for the small children. My fiance left for work. He usually leaves for work at the same time I'm putting him to bed, so we're able to make the most out of the day together. So I'm just going to put this one to bed, and hopefully I won't fall asleep doing that, but I usually do. So hope I wake up in time to get some more knitting done in the evening. Good night. I fell asleep doing bedtime and I did not wake up until I got woken up, so I slept away most of my evening, but now I'm awake and I'm just going to use my final hours knitting on this Friday sweater mini right here, and hopefully I will finish the raglan increases and be able to put the arms to rest and just be able to work on the body. So that's my plan for the rest of the evening and the day. So that's kind of the end to my a day in a life. Hope you like this new format of a video for me. If you did, please leave a like, and if you want to see more from me, please subscribe. Bye! I did manage to separate the sleeves from the body, the last thing I did before going to bed.